Chapter 125. Abigail wasn't particularly in the mood for dressing up for Halloween again this year, but she had to put something together. It was tradition. There was no way her friends would let her out of going to the annual Greenwich Village parade. They would drag her if they had to. It would be quite an event. It always was, as hundreds of gay men and women used their very creative energies to come up with the most fabulous and imaginative costumes. Abigail had gone each year since she all moved into the city and enjoyed it to a point. It was fun being a part of the Decked Out group that gathered on Houston Street and marched up 6th Avenue. But Abigail always found herself thinking of the night as a tragic anniversary. 5 years. How had the time gone by so quickly? And still Linda's disappearance went unsolved. But that may change soon. With the national exposure the case was about to receive, Kane had given her a heads up on the next week's fresher look, bringing the tapes to her to dub for the promo. I knew Linda Anderson, she had told him. Oh, yeah, her mother mentioned something about that when we were out there. You worked with her? Yes, we got to be good friends. She thought she could read Kane's mind. No, Linda wasn't gay, though I wished she had been. Abigail was tempted to snap, but she had said nothing. Chapter 126. Elisa slipped out at lunchtime and took a cab to Bertha Goodman. She wanted to pick out the birthday present herself. Peggy was working out to be the most competent, conscious, conscientious assistant Elisa had ever had. Elisa was impressed with how the young woman had handled all the anxiety that had been swirling around her. It was a bonus that Peggy had such a winning personality. Elisa was very happy with her as she wanted to show it. She had noticed that Peggy was a clothed horse, dressing stylishly on what Elisa knew was not a big salary. As Elisa went in through the store's Fifth Avenue entrance, she headed for the sweater section. The cashmere collection was extensive, a cornucopia of colors and styles. Elisa had trouble deciding between a jewel naked black one and a cornflower blue tur- turtleneck. She loved the blue and thought it would look terrifying on Peggy, but the black may be more practical. She bought both. Peggy was more than worth it. Elisa stopped in the children's department and picked out a new winter jacket with matching hat and mittens for Jenny and then scooted over to the hosiery section and bought a dozen pairs of pantyhose for herself. She was satisfied with her 45 minutes of power shopping when she went out again into the Fifth Avenue sunlight. As she stood on the corner of 57th Street waiting for a cab in the crowded lunchtime traffic, Elisa glanced across the street in the direction of Tiffany's. He didn't see her, but Elisa thought she recognized Samuel's tall, lanky frame coming out of the store. Yes, that's him, she confirmed as the figure walked to the corner and waited for the light to change. Samuel was carrying a small blue shopping bag in his hand. Elisa was relieved when a yellow taxi glided to a stop. She quickly got into the back seat of the cab. she didn't want to see Samuel right now. Saturday night would be soon enough to tell him what she knew he wouldn't want to hear. She certainly hoped that the bag he was carrying didn't hold something else for her. Chapter 127. Cindy's obstetrician said she thought they were still a few weeks away from delivery, and first baby sometimes came a little late. But Cindy had been having those Braxton Hicks contraction and Kane was nervous. He was always nervous. He lived his life that way. Wrench said he understood, but Kane got the feeling there was some resentment there. Kane was worried about taking time off after the baby was born. He was doing all he could to get ahead of the game. He wanted to shoot as many elements as possible for the upcoming fresh looks. Tiredly, Kane made himself call Sloane Catherine to confirm that Dr. Lieber, the head of pediatric oncology, will be able for an interview on Monday morning. If only Cindy could hold off until he got that piece in the can. Chapter 128. Elisa hostel Jenny and James into the car on Saturday afternoon and drove over the Demarest farms to pick out their Halloween pumpkins. The three of them stood in the long line and waited for the high ride that took them to the patch behind the acres of apple and peach orchards. The kids searched intently for just the right pumpkins, selecting bright orange orbs they could barely carry. Afterwards, back at the big red barn, Elisa picked out an apple pie and a quart of vanilla ice cream for dessert that night. Elisa had given a lot of thought to how she wanted to handle things with Samuel. She was going to make dinner herself and, after Jenny went to bed, quietly talk to him about everything. She hoped that they could continue their relationships as friends. She hoped she would understand. She hoped he wouldn't be too hurt. Mr. Garcia had done the shopping and everything was ready for her to start cooking. Thick pork chops, sweet and sour red cabbage, large baking potatoes, a good hearty fall dinner. As she pulled the station wagon out of the crowded parking lot, Elisa noticed that the gas gauge was near empty. Mr. Garcia had forgotten to fill the tank. Elisa steered the car toward the gas station. What the hell are you wearing? Augie demanded as a prying Helen squirted into the station office. You were holding out on me, sugar. Helen wrapped her arms around her husband's white girth. I found this in the bottom of your drawer. This and those other things. They are beautiful, Augie. Were you going to surprise me? Sex or no sex, Augie verbally let loose on her. Elisa half listened to Jenny and James discuss how they were going to carve their pumpkins, but mostly she thought about Samuel as the high test poured into the bulbous tank. She was staring at the doorway to the station's office when a tall, thin blonde wearing a heavy turtleneck sweater and tight-fitting black leather pants walked out. That's not a happy camper, Elisa thought, looking at the sour expression on the woman's face. The woman passed by the car, and the autumn sunlight reflected off a pin on the neck of her sweater. Elisa went slack jawed as she recognized the sapphire and diamond pin that John had bought before he died, the gift to commemorate Jenny's birth. She grabbed a pencil and an old gas recipient from the glove compartment and scribbled down the license plate number of the car as the woman tore out of the lot. She handed it Jenny to New York Times. Here, you and James spread this out on the kitchen table. Then go get your markers and draw the faces you want on the pumpkins. I have to go upstairs for a minute. When I get back, we'll carve the pumpkins. Don't you dare go into the drawer and get the knife until I come back. Understand? The children nodded solemnly. Elisa ran up to her bedroom and called the Hoo's police. Chapter 129. Elisa came down from Tonkin and Jenny for the night to find the jewelry box waiting at her place at the dining room table. What's this? Open it and see. Even if the police do get your jewelry back, I hope this will be something that you'll cherish as I cherish you, Elisa. Samuel smiled contentedly. Elisa felt like a loss. Samuel, I can't. I have to talk to you. Open it first, he urged. Then we'll talk. Uncomfortably, Elisa lifted the lid of the blue box. Inside was the companion nickel to the starfish earrings. It's beautiful, Samuel. Absolutely beautiful, but I can't. Here, let me put it on you, he interrupted. He stood behind her and fastened the gold clasp and then turned Elisa by the shoulders to face him. It looks wonderful on you. I can accept it, Samuel. Of course you can, he insisted. I want you to have it. It's a it's as if it was made for you. Oh Samuel, you dear, sweet man. You have been through so much. I wouldn't want to hurt you for anything in the world. The happy expression on Samuel's face changed as he began to get the picture. That idiot Ellen. He had been enraged when Helen had showed up with that pin at the station today. Now the cops were at his door with a search warrant. Augie thought fast. Most everything he had stolen was gone, Fan said. Just a few things of Elisa's he hadn't gotten rid of yet. Now he was glad that Larson's strong box had only had some papers in it. All they could pin on him was the Blake Bulgari. Augie demanded it to call an attorney. A good lawyer may be able to get the charges dropped in exchange for information about the double murder. I'm so sorry, Samuel, but I hope when you think about it, you'll realize that I'm right. This isn't the time for us, but I do hope we can still be friends. Friends. Even to Elisa, it sounded so lame. Samuel tried valiantly but couldn't conceal the hurt on his face. Stricken, he walked slowly to the door. Here, you must take this with you. Elisa handed the jewelry box to him. No, he shook his head. Please keep it. For all you did for Sarah and for me. Chapter 130. The hallways of Memorial Sloan, Catherine brought it all back. How many times had she walked the polished floors of the Mammoth Hospital complex, unable to distinguish if she was nauseous because of the early stages of pregnancy or because her young husband lay in feverish pain in his hospital room dying. But Elisa had never been to pediatrics. The hospital staff tried to make the surroundings as happy as they could, but it was what it was. The afflicted children, many in wheelchairs, soldiered through their treatments. Their hairless head made them look older than their years. Little, old, bald boys and girls fighting for their young lives. The camera recorded Dr. Lieber as he escorted Elisa through the hallways. The problem, as you know, is that children grow so quickly. So do their cancer cells. When you finally know that nothing is going to help a child, how do you help the parents? Elisa asked. We have counselors on staff, but despite the best effort, I really don't know how much counseling helps. How can you make something like this better? The only thing is, sometimes the child has been through so much that the parents just want it to be over for them. Over for the child, I mean. The parents almost never want to give up. Elisa thought of Samuel. I have a friend who just lost his daughter to cancer. In fact, she came here for treatment. What was her name? Sarah Morton. Dr. Lieber shook his head. I can place the name, but I'm not surprised. There are so many kids. How's your friend doing now? Not well, Elisa answered, thinking of Samuel's face as he left her house Saturday night. It takes a long time. The crew took pictures in the pediatric lounge, careful to shoot from the back of the bald heads or from an angle so that the youthful identities will not be recognizable. No faces could be shown in the piece unless the parents signed release forms. There was one little girl whose face could be taped. Her parents had agreed to be interviewed for the story. The mother was stoic as she told the story of what they had been going through over the past 2 years. The father asked that the camera be turned off when he started to break down. Dr. Lieber met up with them again when they were finished shooting. He handed Elisa his card. Call me if I can be of any other help. I was thinking about your friend, Miss Blake. If you like, have him call me and I'll be happy to arrange counseling for him if he wants. After the broadcast that evening, Elisa called Samuel. When she heard the initial hope in his voice, she wondered if she had done the right thing. I just wanted to see how you are doing. Oh, he said dully. I'm fine. Please don't worry about me, Elisa. That will make it worse. I am worried, Samuel. You've been through too much. I wanted to tell you that I interviewed a doctor at the Sloan Kettering today, and he said that he will set up some grief counseling for you if you wanted it. No thanks. This is something I have to work through on my own. A little professional help wouldn't hurt. What is a therapist going to tell me that I don't know already? Sarah's death. His voice was Morris. Thank you for thinking of me. The phone clicked in her ear. She thought about Samuel as the car crawled up the West Side Highway at the George Washington Bridge. Elisa pulled Dr. Lieber's card from her wallet and taped in the number on her cellular phone pad. She got his answering machine and left a message. Dr. Lieber, this is Elisa Blake. I'm very worried about that friend of mine I was telling you about today. Will you please give me a call when you can? She left both her office and home phone number.